Hello, everybody. Hello out there. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, man. I don't know why I continue to watch this team. Anyway, welcome to another episode of All Knicked Up. It is October 25th, 2023, opening night for the New York Knicks. And unfortunately, it was not a good opening night. They lose to the Celtics 108 to 104. Let me bring the guys in real quick. Ty and Joe and hello. Oh, man. I see that.
Just read the Ebonics on that. That's not hieroglyphics. Not some Da Vinci Code Fibonacci sequence. Damn
So,
insanity is what it is.
oh, you know what? There was a point in this game early on when I was watching, and I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
It's fine if they lose. If they get killed or get dropped, I'm okay with it. It's fine. And of course, what they do, they suck us in. They even take a lead in the fourth, make us think we're gonna win. Should have won at that point. They definitely should have won at that point. That's when I was kind of like, all right, they're gonna win this game. And of course, didn't happen. We could talk about a lot of things, and we will. We'll get into all of it. But the top one, make your damn free throws. Make your damn free throws. Seriously, they're free. They're literally free.
It's literally you're going to need a mute button tonight because the amount of profanity that needs to come out about that one particular subject, just hit the damn free throws. Just hit them.
Right. Just hit your free throws. So easy. Oh, God. And of course, I mean, it had to be Porzingis, right? He had to have this game tonight. Had to be him. Like, we have to get all of these ghosts of Knicks past type of things happen. And here we go. He comes out and has a great performance. I mean, man.
It's almost like what we've been talking about, off air from people in our thread. We often talk about, there's a couple of things we need to be worried about. I think Joe and I talked about it on the last show too. When you're in Disney World, I've never gone, but I think there's a height requirement to get on certain rides. So we are now seeing the same thing happen with Porzingis. Is he not Muscala from the other night? From the last preseason game? Is he not hitting shots on the wing because you don't have anyone out there to guard him, or you either hedge too far into the paint? And there was a play prior to Porzingis hitting that last shot from three. His last shot from three, not the one he missed the one after that. But there was one where Tatum got tangled up, and luckily the ball went out of bounds because that would have been the dagger right there on the wing, on the corner wing, where he was about to throw it out to Porzingis, and they were about to get nailed. And it behooves the hell out of me when I'm watching. Like, why in the friggin' frog are we still hedging into the paint on guys that we know are lit? Eric knows I'm like an Al Horford, whatever. I could care less about Al Horford, horrible Horford, whatever. However, why is it that I'm the only one knows the scouting report that this dude only shoots 3-pointers? I don't care what else he does. He is literally out there. Maybe the rest of the league didn't get the memo either. He's literally out there to do really one thing now, which is to stretch out like a stretch five, who's going to hit threes. That's all he gets. And you would think the next with this genius, we have a defensive coach in New York. I don't know if anybody knew about that. That's what they've been telling me. We have a defensive coach in New York, and we have yet to solve after 3 damn years. Excuse my French. I gotta hit the little beep button. We've yet to solve outside shooting and hedging in the paint. How in the hell is this still going on? And you got KP, which that's all he really does. He doesn't score in the paint. He's not a back to the basket player. He can do it a little bit more since he put on a little bit more weight. Leaving Dallas, we've seen him do a little bit of that. But let's just keep it a brick. He's been playing like a wing his whole entire career. And the Knicks know that he wants to shoot from distance. He's got incredible range. That's what made him a unicorn. The dude can hit off probably most of them coming over half court. He can probably net him. So why would you not at least have a smaller defender on him to crowd at least his gait when he goes for a shot? Because tall guys don't want those little pesky dudes underneath him. Instead, you're trying to defend him with length, with dudes that are not as mobile as he is. Get the hell out of here. That's what I'm saying.
All right, so Joe, we've kind of Ty and I've kind of given our
Sorry, Joe.
maybe you are a little bit more level-headed than we've been so far. So it's your turn. I'm leaving it up to you.
I'm going to tell you right now that defending the three-point shot has been a problem for far more than 3 years.
Yes. Yes.
That has been a problem for a very, very, very long time.
Yes.
You know, there were some good things with the game. Hit your damn free throws. I mean, seriously. If I'm looking for silver linings here, RJ does look good. RJ looks pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, the bench played well for the most part. You know, Quickley played well. I think this is the benefit of having a deep team. We had our 1A and 1B not turn in their finest performances, and we got it from other areas. So if I'm looking for silver linings, that's where it is. The Porzingis thing hurts, seeing him come in and just demolish us. But on the other side of that, I'll give him a round of applause if he plays more than 65 games this year. That's always kind of a rub.
That's true.
Very, very,
Fair.
very talented. I mean, Eric, I know you've been a fan for a really long time, but you know how that corny, nasty thing goes, you know, the best ability is availability.
Oh, sure.
You know,
Sure.
so he does look really good on that team. I don't know. It's we didn't do the small things that we needed to do at the end of the game, like hitting free throws. I think even hitting free throws would have made a difference in this game. On the other side, we shot abnormally well from three. Offensive rebounds were strong. So a mixed bag. This is a very, very good team. And I know that it's opening night and everything like that at the Garden. And we would love to see the Knicks walk away with a win. But this is a premier team. So I'm just trying to find those silver linings. And there were some there.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
That's what I got.
I think it was a lot more positive. I think it was a lot more. I'm sorry, Eric. I do think it was a lot more positive than negative. It was just it's the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
Vomiting, throw up in your own mouth over that. And second of all, you have someone that you drafted came in, and now the whole talk is going to be about what the Knicks lost and what they didn't do competently with a player who, up until now, I mean, he's never had, like Eric said earlier, he never had a great game against us since he left. So, you make him out to be now he's a folk hero, in New York. And, whereas the Knicks, when you look at it, there's one great thing that came out of this, and it's because in the last 4 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever, the Knicks were the better team. Like, this made me less fearful of the Celtics because I'm like, for them being the big dogs with these acquisitions and the Knicks, who are, supposedly keeping things together with duct tape, if you let the rest of the league tells it, that they're just some players that are really somewhat talented. We had two players that were trash tonight. No offense, but they were trash. And the Knicks barely lost this game. So if there's anything, you're looking down the road like, well, if these two, the two crash test dummies actually had their game, even if Brunson hits one of that free throw on the tech, which he should have probably never took. But, because you're out of rhythm the whole damn game, give it to Quickley or RJ. Anybody who was somewhat in the game and had their rhythm. I don't like when those guys come in, and Julius tends to do that too. You bully the ball from the other guys and say, I'm going to shoot it. Brunson's not the best free throw shooter right now. It's RJ Barrett. He's probably shooting in the 85% range. And RJ is a very clutch dude for all he's gotten bashed in New York, about being not this and not that. What he has been is a big time player when it counts in those closing moments where his sphincter muscle, doesn't, start, getting clutched there. He really does come and perform. He looks for those moments. So it would have been better because seeing that he and Quickley actually got the Knicks back into that game, they were cooking. Those two dudes were cooking. They were cooking, and the Celtics had no answers for Immanuel. Definitely Immanuel. Big ups to Immanuel Quickley. He was like, "You guys gonna give me that check?" Because that dude came out tonight. Like he was like, "I don't care what Ty says on all nicked up about me. I'm gonna show out tonight." And he really was our best player outside of RJ. I think you got to give it quick.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree with you. He was fantastic tonight. Nothing you can say. They would have gotten blown out if he didn't have that little period when he first came into the game, and he kind of steadied them in the second quarter and going into the half. He was their best player in the first half. RJ was steady, but I think Quickley is the one who came in and was probably their best player. One guy who we're looking for more from and who again kind of got lost in the shuffle was Quentin Grimes, and I'm saying that because he shot 3 for 6 from 3 and he was 4 for 7 overall. I feel like they have to find ways to get him shots. And I know on this team it's going to be tough to do that. But I thought that I think that's his value. His value is going to be that. So they have to find a way to get him shots, especially on a night when Brunson doesn't have it. They need somebody else to step up. I think he's capable, but he's not at the point yet where he's just going to take the ball and do it. They need the veterans need to be like, go ahead, like do your thing. They need to kind of encourage him with that. But a couple Julius Randle might not have had. I mean, he's had some bad games, but for me, this one was really bad. I mean, he was 1 for 10 at one point, going into the second half. I believe that was his first half numbers. He had a better second half, and I mean, he gives you the rebounds. He gave assists, so that stuff's good. And on this team, we need the rebounds. So I'm glad he got the 11 that he got. But I just watched him, and he seemed a little off to me tonight. A little slow to react to certain things. I'm not saying mentally slow time. I'm not talking. I don't think it was the mental part tonight that was slow for him. To me, it was the actual his reaction time. I don't know if it was because they didn't play a ton of preseason minutes and maybe they're still trying to work out some rust. I don't know, but to me, he looked a little. And Brunson too. The who's ever commenting in here,
that's
saying that yes,
that's Coach Sire 617. He's been the one following us. Salute.
All right, so yeah, thank you, man. And you're right. They both were off tonight. You're right. They play better. We do win, but we even said it before. If they hit their free throws, they win. They would have won the game. So I mean, it's really sometimes as simple as that. When you're not playing well, the little things, right? It's the little things that sometimes will win games for you. And there's no easier shot than that shot. I mean, outside of layups, but they're contested. Uncontested shots are the easiest shots, especially for the NBA player. And we didn't get that. But yeah, definitely strong performance. Hartenstein was his normal self, agitating self. Mitch got into foul trouble early, never really got established in the game. I think that hurt them as well, especially on the glass. But it's just, I mean, they were right there.
I like to touch on the Randall thing. I felt, I don't know if it's, you talk about being mental, but I do want to add on about the mental part of it. I think he came into this season, because I've been watching it during preseason too. He seems to be, his whole mantra on the offseason was that he watched the game more. Like he said, "Oh, I had time to look at the game, and I'm trying to absorb." He's doing his whole, he's burning incense.
Oh, he's zen now. He's zen now.
Zen now. He's like, he's hanging out with Phil in Montana. Chasing the coyotes and all that stuff. So, but I'm looking at it, it's like he looks like he's out there like, I'm going to coast through the game and then pick my spots. And that bro ain't like that. He's not like that. And it seems like he's been a little bit more passive in how he plays. Like he's picking his moments, but I don't think he's one of those guys that can do the Zen thing and just say, pick my moments. I think you need to be aggressive when you see opportunities to be aggressive. And, just play your game. It seems like he's like reserved to be like the third fiddle when he's not the third fiddle on his team. RJ's probably the third fiddle if you want to be real. But I think that's what we're seeing with Julius is like he looks like he's out there like coasting. Like he's not even like involved. Like, oh, I'm supposed to be involved too. Oh, let me go in. I don't want to disturb the peace of the team. But I don't know. It's just something off with him mentally. Like his game, like how he's approaching the game. It's not like he's. And I saw it during the preseason, and I hope he gets the hell out of his head, whatever he's doing, because they need him to be a bully. They don't need him to be anything but a bully when he's playing this game. But obviously, we want him to do a little bit of thinking. But there's a little tweak off with Julius. I don't know what it is, but there's something. It might be his mental approach to the game. I don't know.
There definitely was.
What do you think, Jeff?
I think you hit it on the head. I think that he's trying to maybe while he was watching all of his film, he was watching the indiscriminate threes and some of his shot selection, and I think maybe that let the game come to me thing is going to be working. He's not going to get the numbers that he got last year, and I think that's going to be an internal struggle with him. And I don't think he's figured out how to play yet.
Yep.
Having a really, really a point guard that really knew how to run an offense would really help him. I don't think as good of a player as Jalen Brunson is, I don't think he's necessarily a floor general. And I think you need a floor general to get the best out of Julius.
Yeah.
I think he needs to be led to how he needs to be successful. I don't think he's going to figure that out. I think he's kind of playing in a way that's unfamiliar to him. Mm-hmm. And, I don't know. I didn't like the way it looked. And the funny thing is this crossed my mind during one of the preseason games as well.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't look natural to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. And as you can see, the results are what the results are, at least for one game. He looked terrible out there. I mean, he shot a couple of threes. He shot a decent percentage from three, but,
Yeah, I don't know what just a lot, like I said before, a lot of I think it was I don't think when I said the mental thing before, I meant like he wasn't losing it. He was there tonight. Like he was there mentally into the game. He just probably was, like you guys said, probably thinking a little too much, right? Like just a little bit too much and not reacting fast enough. Even a couple of his drives, I'm like he should just attack the basket. And to me, he was like attacking and thinking, should I pass? Should I continue? Like, there was just a lot going on there. And yet maybe they asked him to do that too, right? Like maybe they've asked him to kind of, look for ways to do that. And we know, as the coach always likes to say, the game tells you where to go. So,
trust the pass.
How about your offense actually tells him where to go for once?
At the end of the half, when Quickley called the play it was just an ISO, but he did something. I was like, oh crap, they do call plays. I was like, holy crap, they do. I don't know what's going on here. But yeah, man, it's a rough loss. Like for all the reasons Ty said before, it's the Celtics, and then KP had the big game, and it was like just, stabbing and then twisted. The Knicks came back, they had the lead. It looked good for a minute. I really thought they were gonna win. And then, the way the game ended was so bad.
It just hurts. It just hurts.
Yeah, it hurts.
I can't.
And now, not to mention the fact that it was on ESPN, and I had to listen to those guys, and
awful telecast.
And then having to see Wembanyama in the corner the entire game because his game's coming up next, and literally they had his face. His debut is next. I'm like, oh, come on. Can I just focus on this one now?
Yeah.
You have to be looking ahead all the time.
Probably had an OJ mask on or something, and he was in the corner. It's always the Knicks.
Yeah. Green's going to need a pint of blood after they telecast.
We always get robbed.
So,
That's why I like MSG. I can't wait till the games go on. I can't stand when they nationally broadcast.
Well, yeah, well, a couple of things. I mean, there's a couple like housekeeping things I heard about today for the Knicks. So going forward, just a little tidbits that we should talk about. Monica McNutt is actually the full-time color analyst now on the radio. So if you want to hear Monica's color analyst, yeah, she got that gig. Me and Ty both love her analysis. Maybe watching the games now, I'll mute and I'll listen on the radio. We'll see. I don't know. Might do that, but she's fantastic.
Absolutely.
So that was something good to hear. And the other thing about the game, they called this new penalty or this new foul, the flopping foul.
Yeah.
And it's weird how they do it because they don't stop the play. They don't stop game action. They wait to the next whistle before they call it, before they actually make the designation. And I thought that's weird. I'm like, because what if you're playing and you don't have a whistle for like 4 or 5 minutes and the game is just going? It's just a weird thing. So what did you guys think of that? I didn't even know they were doing that, and I didn't know. Do you guys think that's a good way to handle it? What did you think of that?
I'll let you go.
I think it should stop play. Personally, I was surprised seeing it because I and they called it twice in this game, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that much last year, so this is something different, and I think the announcers brought that up that this is going to be a focus this year. I applaud it. I absolutely do. I hate flopping.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's one of the reasons I can never watch like Premier League soccer or Champions League soccer or anything like that when they, somebody brushes against them and it's like, they have this imaginary compound fracture after it and then they're fine and they get up and they run around. It's just unmanly to me. You know what I mean? It's just – so I'm glad they're calling it. But, yeah, I think just like any other fouls, you should stop play.
Yeah, he brings it up, and this is the one I wanted to bring up too. The one that they called on Brunson –
yeah,
that was he actually did land on Tatum's foot. That should have been a foul on Tatum on a 3-point shot. They didn't review that one, which maybe they should have. I don't know if you could do that and make that change to it. Call the right call there. But who knows? But Ty, what did you think? Because we were discussing during the game. We were kind of like, "What is this?" We were kind of talking about it. So, what did you think when this foul started happening?
I knew they were supposed to call it. That's one thing I did know. I didn't know it was going to be whenever they, they stop yawning and go, "Oh, by the way, you flopped like 5 minutes ago." I think the thing to me was it's like they do the flailing thing. I mean,
I know the way they call it. It's like look like he's chopping something.
It's like civilized, like you went on. I'm going like this. I mean, what kind of animation is that? I can say. But anyway, no, but I knew they were going to start calling the call, but I wondered if you could challenge it because this is why the challenge thing always bugs me out because you've gotten this call against Brunson that Tatum clearly landed in his landing space, which is a technical. That's a no in the league when you encroach on someone's landing space. So it's like I'm like, can Thibodeau challenge that? And if he can challenge that, shame on him because he should have challenged that damn call because that right then and there was a huge shift also. I mean, when you always watch the Knicks and the Celtics, and I was put two on me earlier on a thread, I said, look, the Celtics and Knicks games are always close, especially in the last several years. So, this is going to come down to the wire. Usually like Eric says, we're probably going to start at 11 o'clock because it usually goes into double overtime, triple overtime. It's just what it is when the Knicks play the Celtics. It's a great, I don't want to say rivalry, but it's rooted in that rivalry from way back in the day till now. So, but they always play each other tough. These teams are very evenly matched. But that's a time when you make those. I mean, what are you saving the challenges for? Now, the one with Quickley with the verticality, I can see why he challenged. It looked like it could have been, maybe should have been. But I'm like, as a coach, if you could challenge that, and I would love to know if he could have challenged that, he dropped the damn ball on that because he needed to make sure that. Because what are you saving the timeouts for? You're in a dogfight with this team that's probably going to come down to the last baskets, which it really did come down to that. Last couple baskets won the game. Challenge it and see. But I don't know. I wanted to clean up the flopping has given guys rings and MVPs in this league. It's a sad shame when you think about it because a guy like James Harden has made his career off of this flopping crap. And LaFlop James,
Yeah.
he's the reason he's in Hollywood. He should have had a couple of Oscars with Denzel, putting cases on everybody who flopped. That's what he should have been doing because clearly that's what he was doing most of his career, a 250-pound grown man, getting plucked by a feather and falling out and needing surgery all of a sudden. It's just the most ridiculous thing. So kudos to the league on cleaning that up. I think the thing they need to work on is the time frame on these replays, though. It's like Eric knows I was like double check them and let's keep moving. And that's exactly what it was. And it's like, did this take 15 minutes? You got the league office watching the plays and zeroing in on them because we're high tech now to tell them what they saw. Why are we taking 15 minutes of drama? We're cutting a Law and Order promo over in the corner.
They don't want to potentially get it wrong twice.
And how many angles? Like they showed a lot. You're looking at a lot of angles in the replay. You know that. So they're looking at every possible angle. Shout out to that ref though, man. He explained everything. Like,
he did. It's like, is this on? Hold on a sec.
Yep. It's like he had a script and he was like, "This is exactly according to the rule book." That's exactly
He's
what happened.
Note, like, they told me.
It was awesome. I loved it.
It's good.
It was. I mean, it's definitely something I'm glad they're trying to clean up. They just got to try and figure out a more efficient way to do it. I guess it's just it seems to take. You don't want to kill the action of the game that long.
Yeah.
It's the same thing I feel in the NFL too when they have replay takes forever in the NFL thing. Like, there's a lot of time here that they're taking to figure something out that's really not that difficult to decide. So it's something cool though that they're doing, and I'm glad because flopping, like we said, flopping killed. Vlade started it and it hasn't stopped since.
You know what? There's one caveat I'd like to add to that is that they should put that on the microphone and why they call that call to start embarrassing players when they do that. He's been called for flopping. He flailed his arms like he was a scared robber running out of the bank. I mean, just at least put some shame to that fame of if that's what you're going to do, you get called out on national TV for it. And maybe these guys will start, toughening up how they, they play the game. And I don't know how they feel. I don't want to use the word masculine because, I mean, you got to watch these words nowadays. But, I mean, it's like you're a grown athlete.
It's flat out unmanly.
Yeah, it's like it's just a bad.
I'm not going to call it anything other than that. It's unmanly.
Yeah, I agree.
All I'm going to say is if it's there, they should be trying to use it. Like, if the refs are calling it, then you have to get whatever benefit you have. So if the ref's calling the flops and you're getting fouls for it, then you should be trying to get it. I don't like it, but I understand why they do it. Like, I definitely get why they do it. But again, I'm glad they're cleaning it up because that's been something that's been so bad in the league. You guys mentioned Harden, you mentioned LeBron. Reggie Miller used to do it all the time back in the day before they actually had the rule, but he used to do it all the time. There was a lot of guys when we were growing up who flopped. And like I said, Vlade made it an art form, and then everyone just started picking on it, and that was it. It just became a thing. So good on that. Good on that. Good on the NBA for that, and good on the fact that we actually saw it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what we mentioned, Joe, you mentioned RJ stood out tonight, Quickley stood out tonight. What do you guys think of Dante's first game as a Knick? He really didn't do much, yet he was second on the team with a +5. So when he was on the court, they were doing stuff. he just wasn't doing much.
I want to say what I think. That's right.
I just think he really, 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 really wants to do well, and maybe he just needs to calm down a little bit and let his game come to him. I noticed that during the preseason too. He hasn't, looked fluid. He hasn't looked in sync. It'll come to him. It'll come to him. I'm not worried about him.
What did Eric ask me? What did you say in the thread? He says, "Where's Dante?" And I said, "In his inferno," because that is exactly where he's at. Everybody knows I'm a Dante fan. I'm a Dante DiVincenzo fan. I've always liked him.
Yeah.
But my other remark to Eric was, I said, well, this would be our luck that Dante will become the Kevin Knox of Villanova since he's here with the Knicks. And he's going to be the worst one because it said, goodness gracious, he's just been so underwhelming. Like he's picking his spots. It's like, dude, you're not here to pick your spots. I said, Eric also said in 2 more days, 2 more games, they're going to have to trade him. The Knicks fans are going to lose their noodle if he doesn't start becoming aggressive and making those shots, because he's brought in all seriousness to hit those shots, those open looks, and to be kind of a playmaker, a secondary playmaker on the floor with these guys, which he had a couple sequences where he did well, where he moved the ball around for Josh Hart in the corner, for that corner 3. That was because of Dante DiVincenzo. I'm only sure he's going to get his game together.
He's going to be fine.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He just needs to stop trying to fit in and just play. I think that's one of the things he's been doing too much is like, oh, I'm going to go through the waves. You can't be that way in New York. Passive people get basically passed over in New York. You will get your ass traded. They just want to see you do what Josh Hart did, and that's play with reckless abandonment and just do whatever is necessary to win a game. And the Knicks fans will love you for that. But he's definitely I was like, he might be out of he's going to be in the Exodus boat pretty soon if he doesn't start playing his game and doing what he needs to do. So,
yeah, I agree. I mean, I definitely agree. He definitely seemed a little tentative.
So he can't be worse than Archie. That's what my man said.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he's.
Did we have Archie Diacono?
The practice.
Don't be mad at Archie. Don't be mad at Archie.
He's there for the. He's a great practice player. That's what Thibodeau likes him.
I know. But all right, so we play on Friday. We have Atlanta in Atlanta. We're going down there, so need to stay away from the Gold Club if it's still there, and just focus on
Lemon City closed. Lemon Pepper Lou hosting parties down there. What's going on?
Yeah. Avoid him. Immanuel Quickley. Don't hang out with your idol.
Yeah, don't hang out with your idol. Okay? Don't hang out with your idol.
Avoid that. I don't know. Atlanta lost tonight as well. They lost to Charlotte. So you have 2 teams now that'll be.
Atlanta's the same team they once were. I mean, the team that we ran into that year and the Sixers ran into, it just seems like something. They just fell apart the next season, and maybe due to the owner saying, well, I shouldn't have signed you guys in public. He said that. So I think that never helped his team play a lot better after that. But, the Knicks need to go down there and get that dub, because after tonight's game, you show that you're competitive with a team like Boston, but what you can't do is fall victim to teams that you are supposed to be better than. And Atlanta happens to be that one team that you should, at this point, be better than, because you proved that last year. I don't know. I mean, I don't even know who Atlanta has. Trae Young now. Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, who seems to always love playing us.
I'm really surprised that DeJounte Murray move didn't work out better for them.
I wasn't, because he can't shoot. I wasn't shocked.
I like his game.
We'll see.
I love his game. I just didn't think him and Trae fit well. As much as Trae can hit those bombs,
I thought this Trae catch.
He's not a great 3-point shooter. He can just hit some big shots, And you got a guy in DeJounte who was playing point guard, basically hybrid guard, but he was never a great shooter himself. So who's going to play off the ball? I love his defense, though. We could use his defense now on a perimeter, a guy like that. That'd be great.
I would take him in a minute.
Absolutely. I would definitely take him.
That may be one of those moves that happens, because that is not working out over the way they hoped.
No, definitely not. I don't know who
they're going to give it more time, obviously. And with the way everything that was happening with Trae Young at the beginning of last year, and then they got rid of the coach and things kind of settled in at that time. So we'll see how everything works out. They do have Sadiq Bey, and they still have DeAndre Hunter. They have some good young talent over there that's still kind of growing together. So we'll see how that works out. But I think it's definitely a game the Knicks, I don't want to say should win, but they definitely could win. So I don't look as much as I like the Knicks, and I think they're a good team. There isn't a team. I don't think they're a team that could just pencil wins in.
No.
Like they're not. They're not that kind of team. So everything has to be earned. Yeah, everything has to be earned by them. So we'll see how that game plays out. But yeah, we get to get back at it in a couple days. So it's not like we have to wait a long time.
I think the Knicks, the effort that you see from the Knicks, I think it has to be like the second half effort. Remember, like we're talking tonight offline. I said this team just looked like they didn't want it, like be out there playing, and the Knicks can't afford. Let's hope so. The Knicks cannot afford to have any lulls in their games. They have to come out in waves and effort every night. So when they come out thinking that they're just supposed to win a game, like the energy they had during that stretch when they took the lead from Boston and they went on that really, really great run, he was like, "Whoa, where's this team been?" That team needs to be out there at least most of the time. No, I'm not saying that unit, but that type of energy where you're just constantly trying to beat the door down to get a win, as opposed to thinking that, oh, we can just come in and walk into the gym. Because that's what it felt like tonight. Like they were saying, oh, well, we'll probably just end up beating them, as opposed to going out and beating the brakes off them. The Knicks can't afford. They don't got talent like that. Because when Brunson's off, when Jalen Brunson is off, the Knicks are in a dog fight. They can't be afforded. They're not afforded a cushion when he's not having a great game. You're going to be in a dog fight with most teams every night, and a team that brings the same energy, like Boston brought some physicality into the Garden. Physicality, I don't think they had last year. They have now because it used to just be smart. Now you got White, you got Porzingis playing good defense. You got these guys that are trying to get at you now. But Brown is very overpaid, by the way. Let me just put that up.
Well, I think yes.
You might owe somebody some money back. That's what I'm saying.
Yes. No, yeah. I mean, clearly he was just the right guy at the right place at the right time because that's what this market said he was worth. The Celtics didn't have to pay him, but they didn't want to get rid of him clearly. So, here we are. Here he is. And if I'm Jason Tatum, I'm looking at him like, really? Like,
yeah. You?
that's just me. That's how I would be.
I'm Jason Tatum. I'm saying to them, you better be paying me a lot more than that.
You got to get a whole hell of a bag.
I want to. Yes.
Brown just was like, I was like, Brown is out there. I mean, like people are knocking RJ. I'm like, he might not even be RJ at times. I mean, literally.
Well, he wasn't tonight.
Yeah, he was just like. He has moments, but he doesn't have like that superstar moments.
He's very much a guy who I think is very good. He's an all-star caliber player. He's a very good player. But he's not the fact that he got that money, like I said, he's just in the right place at the right time. Because I've no way. I don't look at him. He doesn't scare me. I'm not scared of Jaylen Brown. I don't look at Jaylen Brown and be like, oh, I need to stop him. Yeah. Jason Tatum, I'm like, we need to stop him. Like, that's the guy we need to.
When they see Brown, they say, oh, he's going to stop himself. Don't worry. He's going to the turnover that guy had was crazy.
Yeah, at the end of the game, again, like I was remembering the playoffs because he had them in the playoffs. And then it happened again tonight. I'm like, he's crumbling down the stretch. So we'll see. Again, that's their problem, though, not mine. So I'm not worried about that one at all. But one thing that we kind of been discussing this, and it's kind of happened Monday before that we haven't been on since last week. So this happened before the game tonight, but we wanted to discuss it. We already talked about how good he played tonight, but I think this is something that's going to linger over the team in a certain way the entire season. I mean, there's obviously a number of ways they can handle it. I think they can trade him. Obviously, that's an option if they want to trade him as part of a bigger deal. If someone comes available, I think that's something they can do. But just generally speaking, Joe, I'll ask you first. Were you surprised they did not extend him?
No.
Okay.
I didn't think they were extending him. There was not enough going through the airwaves about them working on an extension. I mean, I know that we have kind of like a dead letter front office, where there's not much communication out, and I'm sure they like it that way, but there was just no buzz to it, man. And it just seemed like I don't think Quickley wanted to get it done. I don't think the Knicks wanted to get it done. I don't think there was a lot in the way of interested parties in getting this hammered out. I think Quickley's betting on himself, and I don't think that for what his agent, his team, and himself, how they value himself, for lack of a better term, I don't think the Knicks are going to pay that for a backup point guard. So we're in that situation again where nice young player, he's got his moments, he's got his skills, he's a homegrown talent, just like Obi. But either our first or second best player is starting in front of him. He's not a true two guard. You can't make him a starting two guard in this league. That's not happening. So again, we have like the Randall and Obi dynamic again. And I think he is going to get paid at some point, particularly if he plays well. There was a number of teams like Orlando, OKC. There are a couple of teams that will wind up, San Antonio, that will wind up having cap money and could potentially sign a player like him. In that case, if they do pony up, I don't see us matching him. So again, Eric, and you and I have talked about this several times. This is a golden opportunity to mismanage another asset. So I don't think that they see a future in New York. So I think whatever trades they have brewing, in their minds, he's something that they're going to drop on the table with whatever mix of assets are going to be dropped down on that trade. And he will be easier to trade on an expiring deal instead of re-signing him and then having him making $25 million a year. God knows the way contracts working right now, he could be making $30 a year. Jaden McDaniels has like $27 a year. Minnesota gave him, but that front office is on the pipe. They're out of control. So again, I'm not surprised. I could kind of see the end game on this. I don't think he's going to be in New York next year. I don't think that's going to happen. It's just we can't have this turn into Obi again, man. We have to try to parlay him into something.
Yeah. Ian Begley agrees with you, by the way. He said the same thing. He doesn't think that they're going to keep him. He thinks he'll be on another team next year. Ty, we've obviously been on the show a little longer than Joe. We've talked at nauseum about Immanuel Quickley. He's one of the guys we both talked about. Definitely love-hate with us. There's times you watch him, he's turning a corner, he's going to be more consistent, and then he'll have a game where he's just terrible, and it doesn't look like the same player. So I know how you feel about him as a player. What do you think he's worth? Like, what would you pay him if you were going to pay him? What would you pay him?
No, I think he's not getting RJ money, in my opinion. He's not getting RJ money. The only reason I say that for, and I know a lot of people love to do the comparison. Oh, I'll take him over RJ. Yeah, because you get to see RJ play over 30 minutes a game, so you're overanalyzing his game. We've seen Quickley have starts. You're getting him in pocket, so naturally, the inclination is he's a better player. But not with the same amount of pressure as a guy like RJ might have as being on the third pick and being an important cog in the whole team concept, the franchise concept. Like Immanuel Quickley, nobody took Immanuel Quickley as one of their franchise players. They just didn't. With that being said, I mean, we're in an inflated league. He's probably an $18 million, in my opinion, player per year because he doesn't have a significant talent where I can go, oh, we're banking on him to be this, and he's short. That's just keeping it. A lot of people did the Devin Vassell thing and said, oh, Vassell got X amount of dollars and Quickley, was run up to 6th man of the year, et cetera, et cetera. Well, Devin Vassell is also 6'7", 6'7", I think he is, and can defend and hits the 3-point shot at a very good clip. I think 18 million would be me. Like 18, maybe 20, I think is, to me, still pushing it. I think he's an 18 and $19 million player. And I think Katz reported that himself, saying that around the league last year, there were I think he polled 13 front office people, and they said they didn't see him being a player that they would invest 20+ million in. So this is what we're probably believing that the league believes Immanuel Quickley is. I don't know what you'd be getting in him as a player to give him more than that, because you're saying Brunson is here. Brunson's going to be here probably till he retires or until he flails out in the Knicks uniform. But more than likely, he's going to get his extension money in a couple of years because he's underpaid right now as a player. When you compare him to other people in this league, you cannot give Immanuel Quickley anywhere near $25 million. Which I'm more than sure is what he's probably seeking. There's no way in hell you can give a streak shooter who can't run a team. He cannot run a team. Don't come here with that he has no point guard type skills where you're going, that's going to be my floor leader, and he's going to be that person to get all the rest of my team involved and make them better players. He's not that kind of talent. What he is, he's a microwave. He's Vinnie Johnson's little nephew, Cindy Johnson. That's all he is. He's Cindy Johnson. And, he's great when he's great. But when he's not great, he is a horror to watch at times.
It is.
He's a horror to watch.
Someone's going to pay him.
Knicks fans who like him, they balloon up this great talent. And I get the talent. But he's maddening to watch like Julius is maddening to watch, except Julius is a really good player. Julius's problem is we've all known it depends on what he's thinking that day. That's really what Julius has come down to. His mood. He's a mood ring, basically. But Julius has been 20 and 10 his whole career. You don't question what he can do on the floor. It's just whether you got to question whether he mentally can get better. Whereas Immanuel, you got a guy, I think he averages for his career 14, 15 points. When the hell did you start giving out $25 million for a guy averaging 15 points a game?
Someone's going to pay him. They always wind up with more money than you think they're going to wind up with.
I agree with that.
I'm getting $25 million. I mean, not to kind of take away your point, and I'm going to jump off here, but someone's going to really pay him.
I agree. It might be San Antonio that pays him. A team like that, looking to have a young guard. I wish someone would tell me, because Eric knows I've gone back and forth a million times, because I love my Knicks players. There's only 2 Knicks players I didn't really like, and I made that always clear about the 2 I didn't like while in uniform. But while you're in that uniform, I'm going to cheer for you. I don't dislike the kid. I just don't get what makes him a player like people like, well, you can't put Quickley in a trade. Or, what did you see what Immanuel did? Like a game like tonight's like, wow. And then the next 5 games could be so underwhelming and so sporadic to the point, even in the first half tonight of tonight's game, I'm watching them like, dude, you just dribbled into the deepest part of the paint. You had nowhere to go. And you basically, the job of a point guard is and we see it with Brunson sometimes, or more than often than we should probably, where he dribbles too far into the paint. So he's got to commit to scoring because he can't commit to passing because now you're having a difficult angle of pass because you're too small. You're Lilliputian out there once you get into the trees. So we don't see where Immanuel can't even go take somebody off the dribble. I mean, I don't know if anybody watched his game. He's not breaking guys off the dribble. He doesn't have an ooh moment in the guard where you go, oh, he burned. He burned Maxey because Maxey tripped over his foot. That's really what he burned him for. That's the only thing I can ever say about him.
Him becoming a plus perimeter defender has really helped him.
Yeah, he's a good defender. He's a good perimeter defender. I just don't think.
He was there.
Who do you think would pay him that much now? I'm just saying, Joe. I'm
Oh,
going to go back to Joe.
Again,
I'm sorry.
you're talking about all the teams that can. I look at him as I don't look at him as a true point guard, so I don't even think teams that are looking for a point guard. I think you're looking at somebody that could flex between 1 and 2 of the bench, off the bench, and somebody that could score points, and a lot of people can use that. A lot of
And
people can use a player like Immanuel Quickley and give him 30 minutes off the bench. I don't think he's
I
going to
agree
be
with
a
that.
point guard for anyone.
No, I'm with you there. People who try to make that argument, I've never seen it with him. His height lends to him being a point guard, yes, but his game really isn't that of a point guard. He's just
He can play the point.
he's a scorer. No,
Yeah.
he's a scorer. That's what he is. He's a
Can't
short
be the
scorer.
point guard.
Right. He can spell it like he does for us. He spells at the position, and that's what he should be doing. That's exactly what his role with us should be his role in the NBA. That's what he is. I don't look at him as anything more than that. This is what he is as a player, and that's fine. We picked him 25th. That is perfect. That is the perfect place to get a player like him. Like that's a good find, and the Knicks should be happy with that. But don't we made this comment when the Knicks signed Julius. I said it was too soon. Like they should have waited. And I'm glad they didn't make that mistake here. That was my first reaction. I'm glad they didn't decide to just keep him because of last season and knee-jerk reaction and make, we got to keep him. We have to keep him. We don't have any other choice. I think they made the right choice here. Where he goes, I do think that obviously they have to trade him if they're not going to keep him because you don't want to lose him for nothing.
That would be
so. They have to. You have to keep. You gotta keep his value where it's at, which I think will happen. Going into the trade deadline, there's going to be conversations, and that's kind of where I'm at with it. Like that's where I'm just waiting to see now. Let's just wait and see how things unfold. See if anyone becomes available, right? So see if an Embiid or we keep hearing Towns' name brought back up again. I don't know.
Anyone wanting him,
right? So.
Do you think the Knicks are like keeping him out? Like, I mean, there's a couple avenues. Obviously, we can think about this. Do the Knicks not extend him because they have other players they want to trade and then they reward him down the end? I mean, may have been something discussed? Or do you believe that they believe that that's a key piece to get them a bigger piece is Immanuel Quickley? Because I do wonder about their belief in the value of what this guy is versus the league value. I do wonder if the Knicks feel like, when we put him into a trade, he's going to get us a huge return. Because I can't see them like saying mid-season, okay, let's just trade him. What are you trading him for? Like, are you trading him to get a player? Or like I would say, OG Anunoby would have been a great person to probably trade him for when you think about what the Knicks' needs are. At defense,
they want 7 first-round picks.
I think he'll be one of
several. I know they want to pipe too.
He'll be one of several pieces going out in the.
You're on
that. You're right, Joe. You are correct. He'll be a piece to the whatever the deal is. He'll be one of the top pieces to that trade. I totally agree with you on that. He's going to be included in whatever move they make for anybody going forward. That's
a scary notion.
And I think I think that's a good thing. If I'm him, I'm looking at it that way because I'm like, well, I can go somewhere, maybe start. I can go and they value me more than this team does. Like he's gonna start thinking along those lines. I mean, he's saying all the right things now, but when the coach goes on the record and says he's my guy, and the team, the front office is like, we don't care.
You guys going home.
Like, I don't know if it says something about Tibbs or it says something about Quickley, but
it's weird, right?
I mean, it's
that dynamic. I just wonder. I guess for us as Knicks fans, I don't know if you guys feel the same way. I'm just going to speak for me, actually. I would just like to know what the Knicks' plan is. Like to have an idea of at least someone who we're not thinking about, because we look at like Giannis is gone clearly, he's off the board. You can't be thinking Karl Anthony Towns with that contract And knowing that you got to give up Julius, which is whatever. I'd rather keep Julius, to be very honest with you, and that's a scary thought for me to even say that. But my point is, I just want to know who the Knicks. I don't see Embiid. I mean, as much as we hear that talk, there's
that trade's never going to happen.
I mean, what kind of drug testing would it take for the GM or the president of Philly to trade him to New York? That's not happening.
No, I agree with you. That's never happening.
Chasing with all these draft picks. Like, I don't think Eric does always say it. I don't think they got a damn plan. I think the plan is what we see now, and they're swinging in the wind with the rest of it. Like, I hope somebody begs to come here from the West Coast, and they pick us and say, send me to the Knicks or nowhere else. I think that's what they're waiting on, because they can't. I don't think there's a player that, when you think about a player in a position, maybe Paul George. Maybe Paul George is the free agent guy that you go, well, maybe you can work out a deal to bring him in. But he's old. That's what I'm saying. He's like old father time. There's not a player that the Knicks, when you think about it, who the hell are they chasing with all these picks? I'm just curious, because
they're not chasing. That's going to be situationally dependent. I mean, they're not in control of that, Ty. They're not in control enough of these circumstances to have a plan.
Well, that's what I agree with, and that's why I don't think they have a plan. I don't think they have a plan. I think their plan is to keep these guys that they have and be competitive to get into the second round and pray somebody cries to come to the Knicks. Because if you're not, then all of a sudden these draft picks, you got a lot of picks. Mm-hmm. You're not drafting these guys. You're not going to draft, not with this culture here. You can't draft these guys. And you're not going to be bad enough to get into the lottery. What are you doing with all these damn picks?
I'd love to see them move up in the draft. I think that's their best chance of getting an impact player at this point, because the landscape does not look good.
No.
Move up into the mid to high lottery.
And this coach,
a couple of them, get somebody who can play.
That never happened.
This coach would never
play. Joe, that never. Yeah, but that doesn't happen in the NBA.
We took 3 draft picks to give Oklahoma City 12 a couple of years ago. That happened with major protections.
I just don't buy this coach. If there was another coach, I would say we get a mid lottery pick, like a number 8 or like a 7 or 8. I think the average team usually would say, let's bring that guy in and give him some minutes.
But
I don't think he gets past. I don't think care who they draft. That person is going to be buried on the bench with Tom Thibodeau. I don't see him taking a raw player. And
there's certain circumstances that this could work, though. Someone jumps up in the lottery. Someone jumps up from the late lottery to 6, somewhere. And the logical choice of the next pick is something that duplicates something that they're already strong in. They have a weak bench, something like that. It is possible. It might be our best bet because, again, we look at what's out there. Zach LaVine, Karl Anthony Towns. I'm sorry, Embiid is never happening. Daryl Morey is the GM. That's not happening. There's nothing to pull the trigger on, so we can't.
I like that one too. Sorry,
there's nothing to pull the trigger on, so we can't have a plan. So we have to wait and cross our fingers. But at some point, we're going to have to use those draft picks. And as soon as you use them, they depreciate because the player is never worth what the pick was after you draft the player. It's like taking a car and rolling it off of the lot.
It's true.
Automatically, the value of it is less.
He's gone.
If I were them, come June, I would be calling up to anybody who would listen to try to move up into the draft to get some kind of an impact player. Again, contract stuff.
Yeah, we've been hearing in recent drafts that teams in the lottery are open to trading. It hasn't really happened, but we've been hearing about it recently. So I guess it depends. I mean, I just want this. Let's just hire Sam Presti away from Oklahoma City, and that would be my that'd be my dream GM, right? Like, get him here. That's what I want. and we'll figure something out on the back end.
He knows what the hell
I
he's
can't.
He does.
Yeah, he does. It's too early to be talking draft, but I think it's a good. I think
It's
it's a
never
good way to think. But I think it's a good way for us to think because I think we all understand we are not a championship team yet.
Yeah.
I think that's
Has anyone been on Tankathon yet?
Well,
not yet.
It's usually me.
John might have.
John might have. But I'm usually very quick to be on there after the first week. I'm usually after 1 week, whatever our record is, you'll see me go on and say, so and so looks like a good prospect.
I mean, I'm used to it now, but you should have heard him in the first quarter in the chat. Ty was talking about like long-term things with these guys for the year. I'm like, dude, it's the first game. Give the rest.
I'm just one of those people, man. I look down the line all the time, and I just, oh man, these Knicks kill me. They just freaking.
I agree. I agree with you. I do.
I just want us to be. I know we can't win all the games, but it's games like tonight that make me lose sleep because it's like we should win. That game was won. It's like, why would you torture your fans? Because you get paid to shoot free throws. I mean, Eric knows I have a pet peeve about how did you get this close to the league or in the league, I should say, and you're not shooting 85%. I don't know what to tell you. It just pisses me off.
Yeah. If you miss 4 as a team, I'm like, all right, that I can take 4. Like, I think 4 is you can miss 4. That's it. Like, that's all you got for me. They missed 9. 9. And not to, you know what? The first time it really bugged me was the game that we'll all remember, the Charles Smith game, because they missed 15. 15.
It's insane.
Oh, God.
Insane. Dude, it's just the very Knick thing to do, it seems, is to just give everybody heart palpitations. It makes absolutely zero sense that these type of games keep you sleepless as far as a fan, as far as I'm concerned, because it's like we should have won this, and now we got to hear how great Boston is. Boston
it's the first game.
It's first game. I can't do this 81 more times. I'm just going to tell you.
It's the very first game. Oh,
we're
man.
gonna win this. We're gonna win the season series with Boston.
I think so. We should be able to. We've been very good against Boston. That's why last year I was not worried about
writing that down.
Put it down.
You can put my name on it.
I was going to ask you guys one thing also before I know we're about to probably wrap up, but what do you guys thought about Mitchell Robinson tonight? I was a little. I don't know. I love Mitch, and then it was just a point in the game where I'm like, damn, if Porzingis had to really guard somebody, his ass might have been in foul trouble. And that was the one thing that annoyed
me. It was.
And then he got into foul trouble.
Yeah,
and it's like, well, damn, if you had a real – like we saw Hartenstein try to attack him. He just was lost on the touch. But he did say, let me put my head down and make this dude – I'm going to challenge him physically. Because that's what you got to do against a shot block. You got to take it in their chest. You can't – like RJ and both Julius, I'm like, dudes ain't not watching the scouting report. Porzingis is 7'1". He's a long-ass dude. So guess what? You don't jump that high to try to finesse a ball off like you Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, get the helicopter out of here. That's not – you're playing right into his game. Why would you even float a weak layup? Or a weak carom off of it. But, neither here nor there. I'm wondering – I couldn't help but look at Mitch and I'm like, you got in foul trouble. They need you desperately out there, but you should have been the guy guarding Porzingis because that would be the matchup anybody want to see because Mitch can play out on the perimeter and guard him. But my biggest thing was sometimes guarding him, the best way is to make them have to play defense also on the other end. And it's like that was so missing tonight for me, seeing that we didn't have anyone to cause some havoc for Boston in the middle, that they had to go pay attention. Hartenstein probably could be that guy to a degree, but Mitch is the starter. He's getting starter minutes. I just think that he don't do nothing out there. But if he's not blocking shots, he's not doing nothing.
It's hard. It's hard for me to answer on him because they don't really look to him for that. So I don't know what to say when people say that. he's not a stiff, right? I don't think he moves slow. I think he moves well for a big guy. So I'm sure there's something there that he could work on and develop that they could go to get guys in those situations. They just don't. And they don't ask him to do it. And Thibodeau's been vocal about it. And Robinson has been vocal about it. Like, they just don't ask him to do this. Look how long it took last year for him to put Hartenstein in the position where he could pass the ball. Like, it took him almost half the season for them to start putting him in the high post and realize, hey, this guy can pass.
Even though he's successful with it in LA.
Yeah, he's only doing it
exactly.
When he comes here, let's reinvent him. You know, he's a different dude.
So that's the thing. Like, I feel like he wants to. He's got to be. There's no basketball player who doesn't want to score points. There literally is not a player alive who doesn't like to put the ball in the basket. So he has to want to, but like he said it in that press conference, I'll never forget. He goes, "They don't ask me to do that." So he does what he's asked to do, and that's it. There's never gonna, unless they make a concerted effort to get him to do offensive things, you're never gonna see it. A lob, that's it. That's all he's gonna ever get.
His offensive rebounding is really important to our offense. It's one of the reasons our offensive efficiency is what it is. But
yes, that's his biggest contribution to offense.
It is.
Yeah.
I just look at I don't believe in the 4-on-5 basketball. I'm saying that, you know, but then there was a play where, you know, the ball was given to him. I'm like, well, this is why they don't let you shoot now. He actually got the ball and he was like, oh, did you go to Ringland Brothers last night? Oh, I can show you how I can juggle. And he was just like, he couldn't do a damn thing when it was given to him. I'm like, dude, man, this is when you got to prove that you should be getting those touches. Because his hands, he doesn't have great hands, in my opinion. I never thought he did. I think he's great at catching the lob because he's got the height differential, obviously, and you know he can finish with the lobs. But man, you shovel pass in the mid, you better pray because he's got those. Who's the dude that we used to have? Now, I don't want to say he's Jared Jeffries, so that would be kind of insulting. Jared Jeffries.
Who, Turioff? Not Turioff.
Somebody had bad hands. There was a Nick when you gave it to me, like just
no, he's good.
Somebody's had really bad hands. I mean, he can learn maybe a little bit from him. You don't even like him, but Tyson Chandler, you could maybe learn from him to get the ball and then go up real strong. But man, Mitch, I watched it tonight. I'm like, Mitch, this is why the AM1 tape ended in one volume. They're not going to let you touch their ball.
Yeah, he's right.
You're like a deer in the headlights. So what do I do with it? And it's like
it was Noel.
Noel, there you go. That's my man. That's exactly who I was talking about.
It was Noel. Well, we have 81 of these, 81 more of these to discuss and get through and talk about. Hopefully, we have more wins than losses. I think we will.
I think
just so. Last year, I pretty much nailed the wins. I was pretty good. So I'll pat myself on the back for that one. Last year,
I think we predicted it'd be 47-win team. I think that's what the numbers are.
Yeah.
So, you know, that'd be decent. I mean, tonight's game showed that we're capable of playing against any team as usual. It's just,
All right, let's do it. Ty wins. How many?
I'm probably gonna go 46.
Okay. Joe.
50.
Oh wow.
Joe went out the whole window.
I have a feeling about this season. I have a feeling.
I'm only gonna go 49. That's it. I'm gonna say 49.
So you're gonna do like the Price is Right thing and go like one under me to kind of hedge?
And I pray you guys are more right than I am. I don't know. It's just
I'm
hanging
with 50.
I just think the continuity will win them a couple more games in the long run, and they won 47 last year, so 49 is where I'll put that. But that being said, I could also see some of the younger teams who had down years last year being better and then having better years. So we'll see how it works out. Like I can definitely see when we talked about Atlanta before, I could see them having a good year again. I can definitely see those kinds of teams making runs. So we'll see how it works out. But I'm going to stick with 49 and see what happens.
Small world.
We'll see how this. What?
Small world is why I said 46. Our team is too damn slow, man.
They are small. That's true.
I watched it tonight, and I'm like, if I had not seen that other game against Washington, I might have said, all right, we might be 48, 49. But there's a height requirement in NBA. I always say I like my teams very tall. And I just look at the Knicks tonight, and I was like, Dante, I was like, who's taller, Jalen or Dante? I looked at that tonight, and I'm like, who's
he could get up.
He's got hops, don't get me wrong. Yeah. But, a guy like Josh Hart snatches the rebounds. He plays bigger than his size. I just saw, like, tonight when RJ went up to get that rebound, and Porzingis was like, what are you doing down here, little man? I'm going to take this ball, and I'm giving it back to my teammate because you're not supposed to be rebounding. And RJ happens to be one of our tallest players. When I saw that tonight, I'm like, our asteroids is in trouble on the boards because we don't have small forwards.
They still out-rebounded them.
Yeah, they did. But Boston, what I understand, too, they don't score a lot of points. They don't shoot a lot. So that's beneficial to a team like the Knicks to do a grinded-out game. But I don't know. The height thing is why I wouldn't go even to it's the height.
It's fair. I mean, that's definitely a fair bit. I mean, I said it. I agreed with you before. Early before the season, I said it's going to be an issue. So I could see it. I mean, we didn't see Sims at all tonight. He didn't play 1 minute. So, I mean.
This is in foul trouble. You would think bring in the Sims, and let him, get some touches, at least around the paint. He would have been a problem for Boston, literally being able to rebound, get some outlooks and block some shots. It's like for a team that preaches as much as we preach rim protection, the guy that was formerly a Knick had more rebounds more blocks than all of our centers. I wonder who had the most blocks tonight on the Knicks. I do wonder about that. Did we have?
They didn't have any. They had none.
Rim protection, though. We're protecting the rim.
They had none as a team. I mean, obviously. Oh wait, no, I'm right. They had none. Obviously, there's changing shots is also rim protection, but I agree with you. They did not. Something they didn't do, and Boston shot a lot of. Boston's a perimeter team though for the most part, so made sense. But they missed 4 free throws. See, I said 4 is all I allow. They missed 4.
They missed 4. They did the small things down the stretch that, like I said, Jalen Brunson, he started a little bit this way last year when we joined us. We had those moments where we were looking for him to close out games, and he just fell a little bit short here or there, or was missing free throws at the line. But I look for him to get back to what he normally does as the season progresses. I just don't think he's going to be one of those out the gate starters. But Julius, they got to get him on track because right now, he can't have Obi ever come in and outplay him because that's going to be talk about hell. Talk about hell. If Indiana comes in here and Obi outshines Julius Randle,
I'm going to see when that game's coming because I'm sure it's soon.
Because if that's quick, he better get his adjustments on because he got to go out there and burn Obi. I'm just saying because the Knicks fans. Think about it. Porzingis has already come in here, the former Knick that got away, and now Obi's the next guy who's a former Knick that got away. You can't have that coming on into the Garden. Garden should be right.
They don't play them until. Wow. Yeah, not till January. Why? No, December 30th, but they play at Indiana. They don't come here until February 1st.
Oh, wow.
So circle it on your calendars, folks.
Yeah, that should be that. Hey, they better send Obi home packing. That's what I'm going to tell you. Don't have them come in the Garden and have the Garden party.
Well, Atlanta first. So we have Atlanta Friday, then at New Orleans and at Cleveland. So the next 3 games are on the road.
None of this.
And then, of course, next Wednesday they play Cleveland again when we have another show. So we'll be once again next week. We'll be on after the show.
After the show.
Sorry, Joe. This happened last year too. It was like first game every Wednesday they had a game.
And Boston is usually the worst ones because clearly this one almost went to overtime too. So Hopefully Cleveland and New Orleans will be just a regular game.
But we will be here. We'll be here. So we'll be here to break it all down for you guys next week, every Wednesday. Usually at 8:30, but game nights after the game ends, we hop on and we discuss it. So before we get out of here, you guys give a little social media drop where they can find you. You can see it on the screen, but go ahead and tell them, Ty.
Hit me up at Genius Scribble on X. Gonna give it to you. Also, check me out on All Knicked Up fan page on Facebook. We try to correspond with everybody. Shout out to Coach Sire617. Salute, brother.
Yes,
Okay, you can find me at Upstate Joe, AKU for All Knicked Up. I will be posting haikus and partial nudes this month, so good reason to follow me.
We're gonna be trending soon.
Whatever gets us followers, Joe.
Hey,
so
we'll take whatever.
I'm trying to do my part.
I agree. I think you should. I think that's
My haikus are worth the price of admission.
Notice he didn't say the nudes are, though.
I'm 50 years old. I'm 52 years old. Unless you're into like gray body hair. I know some people are. Some people are.
It's late night now. See, it's 11:15.
Silver Fox.
Jeez, I'm like a silver albatross.
Okay, we went left. We took a left on this one.
Yeah,
But I love it. I love it. Joe, I followed you from the All Knicked Up page today, so I'm following you now. So
All right.
let's see. I'll start sending stuff out to. Yeah, you guys can comment on it. I'll link you guys to things that I comment, so you guys can add comments, your own commentary to it as well. If people get to know you. As you guys can see on the screen, I'm at Finally 33. It's spelled Finale 33, but that's how I write it there. At all_Nick_up is the show account. I monitor that. I could give you guys access if you guys want it. Let me know. But definitely hit me up over there, especially to talk about the Knicks. I've really been trying to grow that specific account, but man, it's sometimes it's rough. Sometimes interacting with other Knicks fans on Twitter can be rough, but I do enjoy it. I also do a show called Straight Outta Gotham. It's a fandom pop culture podcast I do with my co-host Peter Vera. So if you're interested in that stuff, it's at straight_O_G. We also have a Facebook page and Facebook fan group. So if you're into comic book, movies, horror films, all various different pop culture topics, to check out that podcast over there. And I'll join us. Have fun. Have a good time. That's what I like to do. All right. So for time, huh?
So Joe,
I'm following Joe.
I'll just hit him up. Yeah.
All
right, guys. So for there you go.
Not for the news.
3 on the way to 3,000.
And I'm gonna have to figure out something to do with those. I had this idea about a bearskin rug because you could find those upstate.
Microfibers.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna get banned before I even know it. All right. So for Ty and Joe, I'm Eric. You are watching All Knicked Up, and we'll see you next week.